Get your ears wrapped around the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. All the scoop you need to know from college basketball to the NBA and even March Madness. News of your rising stars. Topics on and off the hardwood. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
Welcome to the GSMC Basketball Podcast, brought to you by adamandeve.com. Go to adamandeve.com for a limited time only. You'll get 50% off just about any item using promo code HOOP. Welcome to the GSMC Basketball Podcast with your host, Ryan Holloway. I'm going to go ahead and cover some of this weekend's NBA basketball events with you. Oh, also a little college milestone. Coach K, historic coach from Duke, incredible basketball university, got his 1,000th win. Seems like he's been coaching there forever. I mean, to get 1,000 wins, you got to be doing that for a really, really long time. Hopefully you guys had an amazing weekend. My weekend was pretty fire. I went over to a brunch spot in Fair Oaks, Sacramento area, and there's this little neighborhood where they have like just a ton of roosters just running around, like real life roosters, not itty bitty chickens, not tiny little birds, but real life roosters with all the special feathers and the decorative. It was pretty surreal. I've never seen a rooster that decorated, like a real cockle-doodle-doo rooster with all the different color feathers. They were kind of aggressive, honestly. I'm not one that enjoys being around larger birds, but hey, to each its own. I like chicken. I'm a huge fan. And on with the show. So the Celtics have won 12 straight games. 12 straight. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they're for real. They've won 12 straight. And I'm not going to say that they're going to win the championship. But what I am going to say is that they have a really solid chance. Primarily because Gordon Hayward's not going to come back this season, I don't think. But Kyrie got hurt on Friday. I'm going to get into that in a moment. He got they say a minor facial fracture. I don't know how you get a minor facial fracture. I don't understand how a facial fracture can be minor. Anything that happens to my face isn't minor. I can get a zit and it's not minor. Everything that happens to your face, I would think it's major. However, Kyrie got hurt on Friday, so he couldn't play Sunday. And the Celtics still won. They beat the Raptors. It was a solid game. They beat them by 1 point, 95-96. So they're winning games without Kyrie, which means their defense, it's not that it means that, but their defense is solid. The one thing that I've noticed about them is that they can win games without Kyrie putting up an immense amount of buckets. Obviously, that's what's told to you by them getting a W without him even being there. The problem with them playing, not the problem with them playing such a great defense, but something that may hurt them going forward with playing great D is that they don't put up a lot of points, which in this NBA is required to win. But I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand, because if they're not necessarily not scoring because they can't. They're not scoring. They're not putting up high scoring games because they're locking teams up. They're putting the shackles on teams. These 12 straight wins, they're not 12 wins by like garbage teams either. This isn't one of those streaks where, like last year, Miami, they went on a 13-game winning streak to be above 500. Like they were I believe they were 14 and 26, and they won 13 straight games, and they were 27 and 26. Like, so they were a bad team that just happened to get hot. They still missed the playoffs. The Celtics have won 12 straight games, and 6% six of the teams, which is 50%, are all playoff contenders. So they're beating real teams. Me, I'm not a huge fan of leaving it all on the floor to get the top seed, because it doesn't. I don't think in the NBA versus like in the NFL, when you have the best record, you may get like a bye, which is very helpful, because you run into 300-pound men all day. So it can be helpful to take some time off. So to have the best record is definitely helpful. In the NBA, I don't think it works the same, just because a lot of the teams, like from 1 through 8, they're competitors. And when it comes down to it, this is not so much in the West. This is more like an East thing. For the last several years, the teams on the bottom tend to usually have records that are close to the same. Like it's not like there's a vast difference in talent between the 8th seed and the 7th seed. Sometimes the 8th seed is better than the 7th seed. So it doesn't really make that big of a difference, which is why that's why John Wall said that he felt like the Cavs avoided them in the last playoffs, because they didn't try to get the first seed, even though it was in reach, because they end up, based on the way the playoffs worked themselves out, the Cavs didn't have to play the Wizards unless the Wizards would have beat the Celtics, which they didn't. So that's why I've never really been a huge fan of it, because it doesn't necessarily matter. Also, just because I've seen the Warriors win all the games in the world. I watched the Kings and Mavs do it for a while, like when the Kings and Mavs were good. I watched them get like the best record a multitude of times, and it doesn't really do anything. I mean, it's good to show, but it's not necessarily. I mean, check the records. Check the records and find out how many times the team with the best record has won the NBA championship. It doesn't happen very often. But for these Celtics, for them to win 12 straight, just to let people know that they're for real, I think it's great. I think it's good for the resume. What the irony is that because Gordon Hayward went down, and because they don't really have a player who's a large story, I feel like people are a little bit over Kyrie's story, just because he doesn't give the interviewers specifically what they want. So it seems like we're not really paying that much attention to the Celtics, when if Gordon Hayward was there, it'd be like, oh, we gotta pay attention to their experiment, find out if it's working, find out if this trade was worth it, see what's happening. But they've won 12 straight games. And don't quote me on this. Well, yeah, you can quote me on this. This isn't the most impressive NBA streak at all. Like not at all. Not yet. Not even near it. I mean, the best streak is held by the Lakers, the 71-72 Lakers, I believe. They won 33 straight games. So they have a long way to go before this counts as something that's historical. But I just know that with Celtics, when it comes to like the Celtics organization's feast or famine, like you either have KG and Paul Pierce and you're going to the finals 2 years in a row, or you got Larry Bird in a squad full of ballers and like you're a big deal forever, or you got Bill Russell and then you guys win 1,000 championships in a row. But between those times, it's famine. It's complete famine. So it seems like the top records, for them to like crack the record, like for them to like be a big deal, like the smallest streak on the NBA longest streaks is 16. So they got to win about 4 more games to actually like make it on to, I guess, to qualify for like the tying records. So I'm impressed with the Celtics, me personally. Kyrie has his face injury, and they say he's going to have to like wear one of those masks for I guess 2 weeks. I hope he's fine. I think it's kind of what's the word? I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way, because like he looks up to Kobe, and like Kobe's like his guy, which is cool. I mean, as far as basketball players go, if I had to look up to a basketball player, I mean, other than LeBron and a list of other people, it'd be Kobe. I mean, if you want to eat, sleep, and breathe like basketball and just be like centered with yourself, I think Kobe's a good way to go. I would say so. But at one point, for those of you that don't remember, for those who never saw Kobe play, Kobe had like a face injury and he had to wear one of those masks. And Kobe was a beast in that mask. Like, he was a complete beast. And prior to him wearing it, Rip Hamilton had to wear the mask. And I want to say before Rip Hamilton, I don't remember who wore it, but Rip Hamilton and Kobe wore the mask. And for Kyrie to wear it now, I think it's kind of fitting that like Kobe's his guy and like he has to play in this mask. So I can only imagine the conversations they're gonna have about this mask. Like, Kyrie's like, so what brand do you go with? Like, do you put like a lube on the inside so it doesn't hurt your face when it's just sitting there? Like, what exactly do I do about this mask? Like, how exactly does this mask work out? So I'm kind of excited about it. I'm kind of excited to see Kyrie playing the mask. I think it's impressive when basketball players still put up 30 while wearing plastic on their face. I think it's a wonderful thing to watch. It's poetry in motion. So I'm much looking forward to the Celtics continuing the ball. I'm not that concerned about them scoring any points, just because I know that can be a concern with teams that play like a solid amount of defense, how many points they're putting up. But I think they're going to be okay, especially because people are having a hard time scoring points on them. I also believe that we might have to start giving them a little bit of credit. I know that this experiment can't really be weighed out until Tristan Thompson comes back for the Cavs and Isaiah Thomas actually gets to play for the Cavs. But the NBA doesn't wait, and the skills of other players don't wait. So we can't really say, oh, we don't know how the trade's going to go because there's no way to look at it. I mean, honestly, it is, because it seems like the Celtics trade was made for like more or less the long term, and then the Cavs trade was made for more or less like the win now, because you don't know how long LeBron's going to be there, so you take in IT. You take in IT, and it's about winning now, so you try to get the pieces you can get to get like the Cavaliers in the championship. Then I would say that the Celtics won because IT isn't playing, and when IT gets back, who knows if he's going to be in basketball shape. They got to work out this whole rotation thing again, and you got your point guards who are right now. We got Jose Calderon and Derrick Rose. So it's going to be an interesting task to get that figured out. So for now, not even for now, for the season, I'm just going to say that the Celtics won that trade. Also, the Celtics rookie, Jason Tatum, is balling. Like, that was an intelligent pick. I mean, they traded the pick. They traded the first pick. They traded the first pick, which was Markelle Fultz, who isn't playing right now. That's the pick that they had, but they didn't need the first pick. So they traded that pick, and they went with Jason Tatum, who he's a 6'8" kid out of Duke, who was averaging 20 in the NBA Summer League. And the last couple days he's come alive, definitely. So I'm happy for the Celtics. It seems like they got a lot to look forward to when Gordon Hayward comes back. I believe that they're gonna be even a bigger problem for the whole East. So again, as I was saying a couple days ago, this is a good NBA right now. If anybody telling you that NBA is not good right now, you know who's gonna go to the finals and all that. I don't want to hear it. Can you tell me the last time you heard the Bucks and the Celtics mentioned so much in the NBA? Let me know at the same time, because if I had to think about it, I think it's probably going to be maybe when I believe Doc Rivers was coaching the Celtics and the Bucks might have had Ray Allen. So, yeah, I mean, if you're not watching basketball right now, then you're missing out on good basketball. Check out Kyrie when he gets back inside of his mask. When I get back, I'm going to tell you guys about your mans, Lonzo Ball. Guess what? Everyone loves him again. I'll tell you more about it when we get back. Are you looking to spice things up in the bedroom? Been fantasizing about surprising your lover with an adventurous new toy or adult movie? Well, here's an offer you won't be able to resist. Go to adamandeve.com, and for a limited time only, you'll get 50% off just about any item. But that's not all. When you select your one item at 50% off, you'll also receive 3 free adult DVDs for a little inspiration, plus a free extra gift so sensual we can't mention on the radio. And to top it all off, they'll even throw in free shipping on your entire order. No, they're not kidding. So check out adamandeve.com today for this special offer. Get 50% off one item when you type hoop for the offer code upon checkout. When you do, you'll get 3 free DVDs, a free extra gift, and free shipping. Just use offer code HOOP at adamandeve.com. That's HOOP at adamandeve.com.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast with your host, Ryan Holloway. What's up, y'all? Thank you for chilling with me, making it through those commercials. You know, we got to pay those bills sometimes, so I appreciate you lounging back. Welcome back to the podcast. I just gave you guys a highlight. I gave you guys an update on the Celtics. Yes, they're still winning. Yes, 12 games in a row. Yes, Kyrie had a slight facial fracture. They say minor facial fracture, but I don't know how anything fractured in your face can be minor. From what I gather, there's a lot of bones in your face, so like a lot of important bones. So I don't really know how one of those being fractured could be minor. I mean, I think that you probably need to focus on things that are more minor if we're talking about minor. Like if he had like a zit or maybe like a slight little cut, like a paper cut on his face somehow. But if you fracture a bone in your face, I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say that's a major facial fracture. But he's gonna put on that Batman Kobe mask or Batman Rip Hamilton mask, whichever era you're from, however you want to label that. I mean, you can label it however you want, but he's gonna put on that mask and he's probably gonna get buckets. Usually when people put on that mask, they get buckets. That's just what happens. Your man's Lonzo Ball bested LeBron James in the record. He beat LeBron at something. He's the youngest person to score a triple double. He actually had a pretty impressive triple double. He had a smooth 17, 13, and 12 at 19 years old. LeBron got his at 20 years old, so he beat him by, I believe it was like a couple days or so. So he's balling now. He shot a little bit better from the field, as you know. He's been having some shooting woes. His field goal percentage hasn't been the hottest. He's been shooting a smooth 37% from the field. No, I'm sorry, 31% from the field. And for a point guard, I mean, one would assume that his field goal percentage would be higher because he'd be taking, I mean, you would think that he's taking higher percentage shots, getting to the cup a little bit more. You know, like when he's dropping a dime, the times he doesn't drop a dime, you would think that he would be getting like an easier layup or something like that. But he's shooting 31% from the field, which is pretty low. I think that's Steph Curry's 3-point percentage right now. It's actually probably lower. But he's not fazed by it. He's not fazed by it at all. I mean, right now he's averaging 9.7 assists and 6 rebounds. So his numbers aren't bad. They're not bad at all. But he was given the Lakers franchise, supposed to be the new king of LA. So the expectations are pretty high. But when they asked him about the triple double, he said he really doesn't care. He just really wanted to win. He felt like his team was in a good position to win that game, but they ended up getting bested by the Bucks. I mean, and they were and it was the Bucks, so you would feel like with the Laker noise, and then the Giannis noise, it would seem like the Bucks would get up for that. The Bucks would get up for that game. Not necessarily because he has like some target on his back, like they say. I don't really think the target on his back that they put on there is like from his dad at all. I think it's from rookie hype. The natural rookie hype that anybody gets, regardless of his dad or whoever. I think it's just the rookie hype. I think any rookie that's drafted high deals with that. I think I believe if Markelle Fultz was playing right now, he would deal with the same thing, but he's not. So since Markelle Fultz isn't playing, that technically makes Lonzo the number 1 overall pick because he's the only one that's playing. Do you like the way I like that logic I put together right there? I feel like that makes sense. If the number 1 overall player isn't playing and the number 2 player is playing, that technically makes him the number 1 overall pick. He's the first player pick in the draft that's playing this season, right? Right. We'll roll with that. So Lonzo also said when it comes to his shot, he said he doesn't really give a blank. He's been playing this way his whole life, and he said in today's NBA, not a lot of point guards get buckets. He said a lot of point guards get buckets, but I go off my impact and what I can do to win games. It's not going to be scoring every night, but I'm trying to improve that, which is a really unselfish way to look at things. I mean, so people want him to take all these shots, and if he doesn't want to shoot the ball and wants to get other people involved, then so be it. I mean, if it's going to be some nights he's going to get buckets, some nights he's not going to get buckets, but you should be able to fill the game, be effective on both ends, right? He shouldn't be one of those players where if he can't find somebody, then he can't score the rock. Like, I mean, I've seen that before with other NBA players that they get so reliant on passing the ball all the time that when no one's there to give the ball up, they got to take a terrible shot because they don't have a jumper or they're not used to scoring. Or you get players that pull and pull and pull and pull and pull all day long, and then when their shot isn't falling, they're ineffective because they can't pass the ball very well. So I mean, it sounds like he's just preparing himself for a future in the league. Again, he's averaging 9, 7, and 6 like as a starter. As a rookie that's been given I'm gonna say the most popular, the most valuable NBA franchise. I'm gonna say that just because it's Lakerland, so he's gonna be okay. He also said when he was asked about like the competition and the critics, he said he said his dad had him on lesser teams, so he had to do like more to be prepared when he was growing up anyway. And what he says, he's basically saying that when he's been on lesser teams before, the competition's always been higher. So if it's been him and then some other young boys that like weren't anywhere near as good as him or the comp he was playing, then he had to step his game up. Which I would think that right now, that's the perfect opportunity to reflect that because he's playing with players that enjoy him balling. And I personally believe that once they get someone there, because I mean they're all young, like all they don't have like a particular vet on the team. Once they get somebody there that can make a shot, I mean like a significant shooter. I mean Kuzma can shoot the ball, but if they got like a shooter in there, you know, like a designated shooter, then you get another scorer in there. I mean BI is getting there, but what I mean is once you get some sustainable talent around him, someone that can give you 25 a night, I think that you're going to be looking at a Hall of Famer. And if you're not looking at a Hall of Famer, even if he was Derek Fisher, that'd be fine too. Because Derek Fisher has just as many rings as Kobe. Because I mean, I'm not going to say that Kobe needed Derek Fisher. I'm not going to say Derek Fisher needed Kobe. Well, I will say that. I will say Derek Fisher needed Kobe. But if he's a point guard that can facilitate a championship, you know, in the NFL, when you say that word game manager, it's supposed to be detrimental. It's like a negative term, you know, it's something that people don't like to hear. But in the NBA, if you can be a game manager and just facilitate the game where we can get a W, then so be it. Like that's 100% fine. So I'm still okay with Lonzo. I'm not going to sit here and say he's a bust or anything like that. I'm never going to say that at all. His shooting is getting better. The other night, again, he did at 17. And another quote that he said was, he said the shots were eventually going to fall, and they fell tonight. He said he's not going to change the way he shoots, and he's completely okay with shooting the way that he is shooting the ball. And I mean, I don't think that he has the worst shot, that I've ever seen in the NBA. It just probably gonna have to work on getting it off during the right time. And if that's what it's gonna take, then that's what it's gonna take for him to get the buckets. I mean, the way he shoots the ball, he shoots in a way where he needs like a lot of space, and also shoots it in a way where defenders wouldn't have to work that hard to block the shot. However, when it comes to NBA defense, we may be giving the NBA a little too much credit for defense, because Steph Curry's shot, yeah, I'm going to compare Lonzo to Steph. That's what I'm going to do. And if you don't like it, then just have some patience. Work with me here. Steph Curry has a brilliant shot. So does Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson's release is like, it's out of this world. But when they're shooting the ball and it's crunch time, like in someone's face, we're talking towards the end of the season, and like we're talking towards the end of the season in the playoffs. Earlier in the regular season, there's not a lot of defense being played. Like that's why you'll see Steph like playing, boogieing, because there's defense being played, but they're not in your mouth like that. Like people aren't playing Patrick Beverley defense all year long, except for Patrick Beverley and Avery Bradley and Michael Conley. Other than that, I mean, in Draymond and Klay, they all play defense like that all year. But the rest of the league, they're not playing D like Kawhi Leonard. They're not playing D like that all year. So as long as he can get his shot off during the regular season, then in the playoffs, he may get you a couple buckets, but he's not gonna be the person that's gonna have to take the last shot. And if he is, then he'll develop into that. But as far as when it comes to him changing his shot, or people feel like it's unorthodox what he needs to do because he can't get it off, nobody's playing defense that tight anyway. It's not happening. Especially when they got Kuzma and they got Brandon Ingram. They're both going to be the new wet stars in the NBA. Like Klay, they're not going to be Splash Brothers. They'll probably be like Splash Brothers Jr. But I don't necessarily think that the defense in the NBA is going to be a problem for Lonzo's shot. He's going to find the rhythm and find his spots on the floor where he wants to shoot the ball at. But as of right now, if he's looking for teammates and trying to make people better around him, I don't really think you can ask for more. Like I'm completely okay with him being unselfish. Luke Walton is happy about the way he's playing. Jason Kidd did an interview several days ago and talked about how the comparison to him and Lonzo is probably unfair. It's not a good comparison, which is really honest for Jason Kidd to say, and I appreciate him saying, like, keeping it real, like, yo, that's probably not a fair comparison. But he said that he was pretty impressed with the way that Lonzo played the other night and the way Lonzo found his teammates and got everybody involved. And as a point guard, I feel like that's what you're supposed to do. So eventually he's going to get the shot right. And when I say right, don't quote me. When I say right, I don't mean it's going to be picture perfect and you're going to want to take a picture of it, hang it on your wall. I just mean his field goal percentage isn't going to be 31.4 anymore, because that's probably not something that's going to be sustainable. But he said he's going to keep shooting. He said, my teammates, my coaches, everybody, they know I can shoot. They see it in practice. So as long as people around you have confidence in you, then I mean, the outside stuff doesn't really matter. If he's going to keep shooting the ball and he has the ball a lot of the time because he's a point guard, then more power to him. He's got to keep shooting it anyway, because if he starts getting shy to shoot the ball, the defense is going to start sagging. And then once the defense starts sagging and they start giving you those looks, like you have the ball and then someone takes 4 steps back, like, shoot, I don't even care. That does something to your psyche. It really does. Like, it really, really does. You keep coming down, you get the ball, you get 5 feet, you don't shoot it. You get another 5 feet, you don't shoot it. You get another 5 feet, you don't shoot it. People start looking at you like, okay, either he's scared to shoot the ball or he's not allowed to shoot the ball on this team. So we're going to cheat. I'm going to give him 5 feet. And then by the time you do shoot it, because there's all that space, everyone's looking at you funny. Like, oh, man, I got to shoot. I got this so much space. I have to. Then you shoot it and what? You airball. So you got to keep pulling. Just keep shooting, Lonzo. Everything's going to be okay. Especially in this NBA with all the points that are being scored. If you're not shooting the ball, then you're not going to get the buckets that are required. I'll say more power to Lonzo. When I get back, I'm going to tell you guys about how LeBron inadvertently dissed the Knicks, but didn't really diss the Knicks. Some people feel like it was a slight at Phil Jackson. I don't see it any of those ways. I just feel like he was complimenting the player that he thinks is pretty good. So when I get back, I'll tell you guys about that.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast with your host, Ryan Holloway. Just got done giving you guys a quick breakdown of your man's Lonzo and this triple-double that he got. He was the youngest player to record a triple-double of 17, 13, and 12. He beat LeBron's youngest scoring title record. LeBron did it at 20. Lonzo did it at 19. So he's making vast steps in this thing we call the NBA, vast steps. He's also said that he's going to keep shooting the ball the way that he's shooting it because the shots are going to fall eventually. He's been playing like this his whole life and everything's going to be fine. He said that as long as his teammates and everybody else knows he can shoot the ball, he's going to keep shooting it, which is cool. I mean, long as you're around people that believe in you can get anything done. So block out the noise and, go west, young man. Go west. I appreciate his confidence. Speaking of LeBron, I feel like we're always speaking of LeBron. Like I could say that segue for anything. Speaking of LeBron, regardless, LeBron said Dennis Smith Jr. should have been a Knick. He said the Knicks missed out on a good one with that pick. Dennis Smith Jr. was taken 9th overall in the NBA draft. He's the rookie from North Carolina State. The Knicks took Frank Ntilikina 8th. And the Mavs took Dennis Smith Jr. 9th. And some of the Knicks players, they didn't like it. Kristaps Porzingis said, "We're happy with what we got." I don't know why LeBron would say that. Enes Kanter, former OKC player who was definitely ride or die because Enes Kanter was just on OKC. So for him to say, "Yo, Frank Ntilikina, that's my guy, man. We gotta have his back. That's our guy." So, but he just got traded from OKC to the Knicks. So I appreciate the ride or die because I don't even feel like Enes Kanter even knows Frank Ntilikina. I mean, they've played together for 2 months now, but I mean, I appreciate that. I need friends like that, friends that I just meet and they're instantly ride or die. I'm all for it. Either way, Dennis Smith Jr. is a rookie that you're not hearing a lot about because, he plays for the Mavs and they're 2-12. So they have the worst record in the West. The Mavs have fallen, far from grace. The Mavs used to be something else. So in case you didn't know, Dennis Smith Jr. is ranked 3rd for scoring among the rookies. Like he's under Ben Simmons, who is part of the trust the process in Philly. He's under Kuzma, Lonzo Ball sidekick down in LA. Dennis Smith Jr. is averaging 14.8 points a game, which is dope because we haven't even heard of him. We haven't heard a lot about him. The West is so stacked that if you're playing on a team that's 2-12, you're probably not going to hear a lot about that player. Now, back to LeBron. When LeBron said this, there's been a little bit of rumbles about how he was like dissing Frank and not really respecting like Frank's swag by just getting at him by just getting at him like that. Which, I mean, I can understand, but I mean, realistically, they're all grown men. I don't really think that anyone should be that upset about it. But it didn't seem like Frank was that upset because he responded by saying people in their lives are going to say whatever they want, and he's not going to let that affect him. Him and his team are doing really, really well, so he doesn't have a problem with it at all. Some people feel like it was a slight at Phil Jackson with the whole, because Phil picked Porzingis and then Phil Jackson picked Frank. So with him picking those players, LeBron James may have been trying to get at Phil, letting him know like, yo, they missed out on that pick. But I don't really necessarily think that that's what that was. I think that's too cryptic. Last year, Phil Jackson referred to LeBron's group of friends that he used to like travel with a while ago as a posse. People didn't like that. So I doubt that LeBron is so conniving to like take a shot at Phil Jackson like 1 year later over a basketball pick. I think that LeBron is just appreciative of Dennis Smith Jr.'s game. They're admittedly close. It seems like LeBron like knows the rookie and they seem to be cool. Dennis Smith Jr. was the ACC Rookie of the Year in 2017 and second team All ACC in 2017. So I mean, he's a baller. He's averaging 14 buckets, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds. Now, he is starting though. Like Frank Ntilikina isn't starting. De'Aaron Fox isn't starting. Neither is Josh Jackson. Those are also people from the same draft. Only other starter right now that's starting are the people that I told you are ahead in scoring, which is Kuzma, Ben Simmons, and Jason Tatum, of course, because he's the beast from the Celtics. So I mean, it may be too early to say if the Knicks, whether or not like the Knicks missed out on a pick. I don't really know if we can judge it that way. Obviously, for the Mavericks to be 2-12, they needed that player. Like if they needed someone that's going to score 14 so they can develop them. If Phil Jackson drafted a bench player this is a stretch. It's kind of maybe a little hard to say. If Phil Jackson draft a bench player to the playoff Knicks, which they're the playoff Knicks now because they're 7-5. Don't be mad. Yes, I said playoff Knicks. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was a good pick. He's averaging 4 points and 5 assists right now, but he comes off the bench though. Like he's a bench player. That's what he does. So I don't really know if that's necessarily a bad pick. They didn't need Dennis Smith Jr., so they didn't take him. But it might be one of those situations like the Pistons where the Pistons didn't need Carmelo, so they took Darko because the Pistons didn't need that high of a pick at the time, and because they were already stacked and they thought they could develop a big man. But I mean, looking back on it, of course they would have took Melo over Darko. Like who wouldn't? So I guess you draft solely based on the need. With that, I know the Phil Jackson thing didn't go over well in New York, and we're just gonna like brush this under the rug and just forget about it. But when Phil Jackson drafted Porzingis, people booed Porzingis because they didn't know who he was and they wanted Phil Jackson to take somebody else from that draft. I can't even name the person, but people booed him and they didn't know who he was. Porzingis was balling all last year. The Knicks still weren't doing very well. Phil Jackson says, we need to get Melo out of here. We can't win with him. And then the noise was that Phil Jackson has tarnished Melo's career. How dare he do this to Melo? How dare he? This is ridiculous. You can't do this to Melo. It's crazy. So they fire Phil Jackson and they trade Melo. And now the Knicks are balling they're balling. They have a player that's averaging 30 buckets per game in Porzingis. And we're just not going to give Phil Jackson his credit. Like we're going to just pretend that none of this happened. We're going to just pretend Phil Jackson didn't draft him and everybody booed Porzingis and like doubted him. And we're just going to pretend that this happened. And Frank Ntilikina, watch, he's going to end up being a baller in like a year, averaging, who knows, like 20, 10, and 10, balling. But we're just going to pretend none of that happened because we can't give Phil Jackson any credit. And the Knicks have a better record than OKC right now. Like, they moved Melo to OKC, and the Knicks are balling. But we're just gonna pretend that Phil Jackson didn't have anything to do with any of that. Fine. We won't talk about any of that. Anyway, Dennis Smith Jr. His dad was interviewed, Dennis Smith Sr., and they asked why he didn't go to a press conference with his son. And he said that, you got to let him do things on his own. He wants to be a grown up, so I let him be a grown up, which is respectable. It seems like he's willing to give his son some space. Obviously, him being a senior, we know that he's an involved dad, similar to LeVar. He's coached his son since elementary school at AU all the way up to college, but it seems like he's willing to take a little bit more of a back seat. What I found interesting is Dennis Smith Jr. and his dad. They have a brand that was helped put together by the FUBU, one of the FUBU founders. And I found out about this because I read an article about Dennis Smith Jr. I found out about this brand. Now, the brand is a lowercase J, lowercase R with a jump man type of guy jumping for the period on top of the baby case, the lowercase J, baby case. What's a baby case J? Anyway, I found it interesting because, I guess LeVar is criticized for being loud and boisterous and all this. But we all know about the Big Baller brand. We all know about it. LiAngelo is wearing it right now in China. He's wearing Big Baller brand house arrest bracelet around his ankle right now. But we all know about that brand because he talks about it all the time. But this brand, we don't know about it because, we haven't necessarily heard them talk about the brand. He said that Dennis Smith Sr. said that when they did another interview, and he reminded his son to make sure you wear your T-shirt with your brand on it, because his son had forgot to wear it or whatever. But I don't think that we necessarily appreciate self-promotion as much as we should. LeVar is criticized for talking about how much his brand is, talking about his kids and just the self-brand, the self-promotion, which is completely free, right? That's what they're doing. Is for him being on the ESPN. That's completely free. Meanwhile, Dennis Smith Jr. has a brand that, I didn't even necessarily know about. I had no idea. I had to look it up. I read it. I found out about it in the article. Meanwhile, Dennis Smith Jr. is a better player than Lonzo Ball. So, skill doesn't sell sneakers. Popularity sells sneakers. I find that mind blowing. And hopefully, I don't know if LeBron did this. I don't know if this was his goal, but I think that this is more likely than him trying to diss Frank Ntilikina or trying to diss Phil Jackson. I seriously think he was just trying to promote a rookie that doesn't talk a lot and doesn't get the pub that he probably should. And you gotta definitely tip your hat to LeBron for that, because usually a lot of people that are in higher up positions, they don't tend to reach down and have your back and say, hey, yo, come with me, follow me this way. This is how you do this. I'm gonna have your back. Usually it's, yo, I'm gonna squash you like a bug because I don't want you to replace me. But for LeBron to just LeBron just push that guy's name out there like that, I think it's great. I think it's awesome. LeBron did that with the rapper too. I don't remember who the rapper's name was now, but LeBron showed he was listening to this song, and one of my friends sent me the song. I personally didn't like the song, but next thing you know, it was all over Instagram, and it was a big deal. It was on the radio, it was popping just because LeBron put it on there. So, I'm all for it. I appreciate LeBron doing that. I now know who Dennis Smith Jr. is. I didn't even know that the kid was raw like that. I hope he has a great career. Again, the Mavs are 2-12, so hopefully he doesn't get his talent wasted there. As long as they're 2-12 and it seems like they may end up doing their own inadvertent 76ers trust the process where, hey, we're not going to, but not as blatant as the Sixers. Not hey, we're going to purposely lose all these games and continue to draft players. We're going to try to win games and we're just going to lose them. Because the Mavs still have Dirk Nowitzki, so they're still selling tickets. If you still want to go see Dirk play, you can still go see him play. So it looks like they're still trying to win because Dirk is there, and there's like, no, I'm sorry. Because Dirk's there, probably doesn't look like they're trying to win because you got an old vet there that's probably not the best. He's probably not at his tip-top shape. So him being there maybe isn't helping you guys try to win, but Dirk keeps taking these pay cuts to remain on the Mavericks. So, I mean, Dirk's there. The Mavs aren't very good, but Dennis Scott Jr. is balling. Sorry, Dennis Smith Jr. is balling. When y'all get a chance, you guys should check it out. Watch him play. He's balling. Again, 14, 5, and 4. He's been compared to Westbrook, like just the way his explosiveness and the way he just doesn't get tired and the way he's just everywhere. He's been compared to Westbrook. I'm not going to say he's Westbrook, but you guys should watch him play. I don't know how you're going to watch him play because the Mavs aren't going to be on like real TV. You may need NBA Network, but maybe you could check it out on like a little ESPN game that will randomly be on like a Tuesday or something like that. In fact, I'm gonna let you guys know the next time that they're playing. We'll just check it out, and then that way you guys will know. But I'm not going to tell you till I get back. So I'm going to go pay this bill real quick, and then when I get back, I'm going to tell you guys about Coach K winning 1,000 games, Adidas giving a grip of bread to Houston, but it's solely based on the way that James Harden plays, which I think is kind of cool. And I'm gonna wrap it up with the game of the night. I'll be right back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast with your host, Ryan Holloway. I was just giving you guys a preview on Dennis Smith Jr. He plays for the Mavericks, averaging 14, 5, and 4. And I told you that when I got back, I will let you guys know the next time that he is playing, or next time the Mavs play. The Mavs play the Spurs tomorrow, November 14th. You should check it out. Trust me, it'll be worth it. Anyhow, you know what happened this weekend? Guess what? Guess what happened this weekend? Coach K won his 1,000th game. But it's kind of, how do I say this? It's not really his 1,000th game. Well, it's his 1,000th game. You're probably like, wait a minute. I know he already won 1,000 games. Like, what? Because there was this big thing about it. Our ESPN did this thing where his old coach, Bobby Knight, came and like they did a big thing. It was dope. It was really cool. So, but this is his 1,000th like Duke game. He used to coach Army from 75 to 80. He's been at Duke since 1980. So he won his 1,000th game at Duke. His overall record is 1,071 wins. Well, not his overall record. His overall record is 1,071 wins. His losses are 330, which is crazy. He's been coaching for 42 years. Jeez. So with all that, he's still not the most winningest coach. And he's still not the most winningest men's coach. The most winningest men's coach is Harry Statham. He coached McKendree from 1967 to present. So if he's still like coaching, I'm not really sure how Coach K is going to catch him. But I mean, we'll see what happens. So congratulations to Coach K. I'm very happy for him. It seems like if you go to Duke, then you're pretty much almost like guaranteed to go to the league. Even if you're not like top premier talent, like you're definitely going to get to like rock in the league. Like right now, just a couple of like existing Duke players that are still in the NBA. You got Luol Deng, JJ Redick, Lance Thomas, Austin Rivers, Kyrie Irving. Jabari Parker, which we still haven't seen him play. But yeah, I mean, you go to Duke, apparently you get to go to the NBA. That's kind of the way it works out. If you were to Google past NBA players that have went to Duke that play in the NBA, the list is crazy. It goes on like forever. At one point, I believe, I want to say, at one point, like their whole starting five got drafted when they had Jason Williams, Shane Battier, Carlos Boozer, and Mike Dunleavy. And I want to say Chris Duhon, I believe. I think their whole starting five got drafted. But yeah, I mean, shout out to Duke. They're raw. Adidas is going to be making a pretty Goliath donation to Houston because of the most recent tragedy that like happened there. But the way they're going to do it is they're going to give $100 for every assist that James Harden makes this season, which is kind of a lot of pressure on James Harden because, I mean, we all know that he's probably not like the best defender in the NBA, but last season he had the most assists in the NBA, which kind of got me tripping because he had the most assists in the NBA, but he didn't like average triple double. So he didn't end up getting the MVP, even though he had the most assists and he averaged the most points, which is weird. I guess we have this really strange thing for square numbers apparently. But I digress. So yeah, Adidas is going to give out $100 for every assist that he makes for, to help out people that like were devastated by Hurricane Harvey. But like $100 per assist is kind of going to have people in the crowd kind of hot though. Like, I mean, he's dropping dimes and it's not even really on James Harden. It's like based on like the other player to score. So it's not really based on the passes James Harden makes. It's whether or not somebody like makes a layup or makes a three. It's like, oh, I got you, dime, smoke the layup, bro. Like, you just cost somebody some shoes. You can't be missing layups this season. It's not cool. Dime. Oh, like, come on, bro. Or what happens when in a situation where he gets to end the season and the total is something like, it's like $100 shy of like $100,000. But he's 1 point shy of an all-time scoring record for Houston. Does he make this dime to Chris Paul? Well, I don't know why he would pass Chris Paul the ball. I'm not going to say that James Harden. It's because we don't even know when Chris Paul's going to get back. And if James Harden gets the ball from Chris Paul, I doubt it's going back to Chris Paul. But I mean, does James Harden make a tough decision where he passes the ball so that the total donation can be $100,000, or does he keep it and pull the three himself for the scoring record? We don't know. Either way, I appreciate the creativity. Instead of just having him hold some giant check the same size as a Honda Civic and then walk it down to like the relief center, like, here's this money. This has nothing to do with me, but here's this check. And they just accept it. Like, instead they put it on James Harden, and then it like kind of brings the city together. So like they can all like root for him to pass the ball, because last season he averaged 11.6 assists. So right there, we're at like almost $1,200 per game. So I mean that, and then they play 82 games. So I mean we're looking at a smooth $80,000 at least $80,000 donation. So I mean I'm all for it. I'm all for the city. They said that you can pledge for every James Harden assist too. You go to the link, say you want to donate some money for every assist that James Harden makes, and then you're in there. You can watch the game as well. So this is all positive behavior. I'm all for it. Give you guys another update. Rudy Gobert tore a ligament in his leg. He'll be out for 4 weeks, which sucks for the Jazz. Like, they were playing the Warriors last year, and Rudy Gobert got hurt. Not that they were gonna beat the Warriors, but it's like it's poor Jazz. Hopefully, eventually they'll be good again. I don't know how soon that's gonna happen, but more power to them. They're kind of one of those teams that are only going to be good like kind of every once in the blue moon too. Well, they had like a good stretch, obviously, when they had John Stockton and Karl Malone and went all the way to the finals twice, and then Michael Jordan decided to rip their hearts out. Then they had a solid little run when they had Boozer, when they had Carlos Boozer and Darren Williams. Yeah, when they had Darren Williams and Carlos Boozer, they had a solid run then as well. But things happen and they're not good anymore. So shout out to the Jazz. Hopefully they get better. Game of the night. I suggest you guys watch the Cavs versus the Knicks tonight. LeBron James is going to Madison Square Garden. Whenever the great players go to Madison Square Garden, it's always a big deal. As they like to say, it's the Mecca of basketball. Michael Jordan will play great games there. Kobe Bryant would play great games there. And since we're always talking about who's the greatest, who's not the greatest, who is the greatest, who won't be the greatest, blah, 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 LeBron is going to have a great game there too. LeBron is averaging 28.5 points per game and Porzingis is averaging 30. Basically, they're both averaging 30. So I'm going to say that it's going to be an intense matchup, especially because earlier, as I told you guys, LeBron was saying, hey, the Knicks make down on the pick by not taking Smith Jr. They got Frank. They got Frank over here, Frank from France, and they picked him. So I think the Knicks missed out. So who knows? LeBron might have been trying to get under their skin a little bit. It might be a solid game. They might put Frank in there, and Frank just might go off. It's also a pretty solid game because, J.R. Smith and Shumpert used to play for the Knicks. It's just in Madison Square Garden. It's going to be a solid game. I suggest that you guys watch it, especially because LeBron's incredible. I know that some of you guys don't feel like LeBron's incredible because he doesn't have 6 rings. I'm not going to get in that argument with you because, again, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. He has to have 6 rings to be great. There's other players that don't have 6 rings that are great as well. But I digress. I digress with you guys today. Not gonna happen. Not at all. The Cavs have been doing this thing where they keep losing to bad teams, but they're able to beat the good teams. And since these are the playoff Knicks, I said that with air quotes because I'm really disrespectful. Like the Knicks have the 5th seed right now. So I'm not one. I don't know. I don't know if these are playoff Knicks, but right now they're playoff Knicks, so I'm going to be respectful of the Knicks. The playoff Knicks are in 5th place. The Cavs are in 9th. The Cavs were in 12th place, so that means that they're climbing a little bit. And since the Cavs do this thing where they're able to beat good teams, there's a possibility they may beat the Knicks, but we don't know. You guys got to watch it. Hopefully, LeBron or Porzingis scores 50 tonight, and I can tell you guys about it on Wednesday when I come back. I appreciate you guys joining me at the GSMC Basketball Podcast. I will talk to you soon.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.